Okay, thanks for coming to our kickoff call. I have a feeling this is probably going to be short and sweet, but that's okay. We just wanted to kind of offer just a place where you could come and ask questions or get some information about the gut protocol, just so that maybe you can feel a little more prepared. And we can kind of give you our best tips of what we've learned over the past 3 weeks. Katie and I are on the same, we have 1 week to go. My husband's doing it with me. And then Brenna did it for a couple weeks. She went on spring break and she's starting over tomorrow. So she's on the same path as those of you who are starting. So, but we are all here to support you and to answer any questions. So does anybody have any questions like right off the top of their head that they're just dying to ask? Not really. Okay. So I will tell you my best tip, and then you guys, Katie and Brenna, can kind of go. Probably my biggest thing is know you're probably going to go to the grocery store more than you normally would. And I say that I have a husband that's doing it, and he gets 9 servings of vegetables every single day, 7 servings of protein. So he's eating a ton. So that's why I have to go to the store more often. I just can't, like, I have 2 fridges and they're stocked and we'll be out of fresh veggies. I do keep frozen veggies as backups, especially for like my lunches because I'm home, but we have to pack all of his stuff because he doesn't come home for lunch or anything. So we have to pack all of his stuff and he takes it with him. And it's totally doable. So if you work outside of the house, it's totally doable 100%, but be prepared, have your meal plan in place. You don't have to have everything prepped, but be prepared. That is probably the number one thing, and have kind of a backup plan. Last week, I cooked just a huge spaghetti squash, and I just ate a vegetable serving like for lunch every day. I still have about like 1 serving left that I'll eat tomorrow, but it's just been so easy because I can pick at that. I can put frozen veggies on top of it. And if I have beans or if I have cooked chicken or whatever on top, I throw it in the microwave, heat it up, and I've got my lunch. And it's so quick and simple. You could do that with zoodles, cauliflower rice, frozen cauliflower rice, all of that makes it super simple as well. So that's my biggest tip, is just be prepared, and you'll win the battle 100%. But if you're scrambling, it's so easy to give into temptations. Another thing is I've done this over Easter. I've done this over my anniversary. We went to an all-day cheer competition from 9 a.m. We left our house at 9 a.m. We did not get home till 9 p.m. We packed our food. We ate what we stuck to the plan. For me, like when I do something like this, I'm like, okay, I'm either all in or I'm not in. You know what I mean? Like I commit to this. And that was my husband too. And it definitely helps to have him on board 100%. But so we packed our food and we did it. And was it ideal? No. Was it the yummiest food at the cheer competition because it was cold and we were like stinking up everything? No. Was it convenient? No. Like, no, it's not. But I committed. And this was my plan. Was Easter hard to not eat Easter candy? Yeah, it was. But is it worth it? Yeah, 100%. And do my kids still have Easter candy? And will they next week? Yes, they will. Can I have some then? Probably, right? If I choose to, right? So this isn't the last time you're going to have candy forever, or the last time you're going to have chocolate forever. So I think you have to kind of have that mindset too. Like, let's just see where we're at for now, for this month. Like, let's go 100% and see how we're going to do, see what affects us, what sensitivities we have. Like, let's see if you're in it for weight loss or whatever. And then after that, like, no, it's not going to be forever. You can add things back in and kind of see where you're at. So those are my tips. Who wants to go next?
I can share a little bit. So what has been the most helpful for me is, again, like with prepping, is just making like a huge batch of brown rice. And then I just did like 2 giant sheet pans of roasted veggies, especially for the first week, since all of your veggies should be cooked, to just help with digestion, help it easier. It's just easier on everything to get through during that first week. So I just roasted a bunch of different veggies. And so that I could make lunches super quick. Like I just get some brown rice, some veggies, and then a protein, whether that was beans or I also just put a bunch of chicken breasts in the crock pot. So I could just throw that on top. Like I love kind of the recipes that they've included. I'll include like a couple. But for me, I just break things down super simple because it's just makes it easier for me. I don't want to try and experiment with all of these kind of crazy recipes that I've never tried before when I'm trying to like stick to it. So that first week, I didn't try anything new. I just broke it down simple, broke the containers down, and just kept it as easy as possible. And now that it's kind of like second nature, you know, once you get in that groove, and I'm like, okay, now I can try something new. Now I can look through the recipes and find something different or fun to try. So those were kind of my tips. I will say my sugar cravings have decreased dramatically. That's probably been my biggest thing that I've seen during this 3 weeks, you know, especially over Easter. You know, typically it's like the kids get the Easter basket and you're like, trying to sneak the candy from them. And it just didn't really even appeal to me. Cause I was like, if I'm going to have something sweet, like I'm going to make it worth it. I'm not even like candy doesn't even tempt me right now, which is huge, you know, especially like with having a baby and all those hormonal things that come up that just kind of make sugar a little more extra tempting, I guess. So that's been my biggest takeaway and something I'm really, really grateful for. But also keeping a really great food log during this, just because I think because we've eliminated those key food groups, you know, like your sensitivities aren't going to be coming from that. And so you can kind of dial in a little bit better what might be causing issues. So I've discovered that peanut butter is not good for me, which I have fought for a really long time because peanut butter is like a love language to me, but I figured that like it just doesn't do well in my tummy. So I've switched to almond butter. I'll survive. But I haven't really noticed that was something that was causing me issues before because I had these other foods in my system that were also bothering it. So the first week you probably won't feel great, especially because you're getting so much more fiber from veggies, the digestive enzymes, the probiotics, like your body's going to be like, whoa, like what's going on? This is not normal. I'm not happy. So it's okay it's going to be normal to feel a little crappy in the beginning. Especially like if you're detoxing some things, be patient. Keep with it, stick with it. And then if you're still feeling super crappy after, like, I think in our group, most people are feeling better by like day 4, day 7-ish. So if you're feeling really crappy after that, then maybe kind of really take a look at your food logs and see if you can eliminate some things. So like example, I know that I can't have eggs. Eggs are allowed on the program. That's not something that most people have to eliminate, but I know that eggs cause me problems. So those I need to eliminate. So just kind of keep track of that. Those are my kind of main takeaways.
When I did it, I just did it for like 7 or 8 days and then I had a vacation and stuff. So, but when I did do it, I realized after I cook a new dinner every night. So I just picked a gut protocol recipe each day to try. And then I just kept lunch and breakfast simple, like the girls were saying. But I found out after a couple of days of cooking, I had lots of leftovers. So I could just eat leftovers for lunch, which also made lunch really easy. So then I just had to have like a breakfast meal with a vegan protein. So I would do beans, brown rice, and frozen vegetables with nutritional yeast a lot. Or I would do a tofu scramble, or I would do steel cut oats and Shakeology, and I would just rotate those. So I didn't have to think about it, but I had a couple of options if I wasn't feeling like tofu that day or whatever. I would say be open to trying new foods. Try sauerkraut, try kimchi, like just try it. If you don't like it, you don't have to keep eating it. But I really liked that this program forced me into a lot more variety because I'm the person that can eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch for years, like literally years. And so I was like, oh yeah, I like all these things that I just don't put in my diet because they're not in my routine. So I liked eating new things that way and remembering things that I liked, like sweet potatoes. I don't eat those very often, but on the program, I was like, why don't I eat these? They're just like super delicious. So that was great too. And realize that all of your containers except for your animal proteins count as plants. So your carbs, your seeds, your healthy fats, like pretty much everything is a plant except for your animal proteins. So you're for sure going to get in your 30. If you do beans, like you can do black beans one day, kidney beans the other day, and that's 2 different plants. So that's another way to kind of switch it up. Remember the water. I had a hard time remembering the water and the fermented foods. Like I didn't plan those into my day or my food plan. So that's one thing this time I really want to like detailed plan because I've done the containers for years. I've been a coach for 8 years. I could do it in my head. So I was kind of trying to do this in my head, but I was like, no, I don't have a spot for sauerkraut, you know? So like you need to like do a little more detailed plan, even if you're really familiar with the containers. I think that's all I had as far as tips. You guys have any questions now that we've chatted a little bit?
I did want to say, like, for everybody that's starting new, like take a minute to scroll through our group for everybody that's been going through it for the last couple of weeks, because everybody's been so amazing in sharing their recipes and sharing new products that they're trying, you know, like yogurts or, you know, for a lot of us, like kombucha is like brand new. So like, what's your favorite kombucha? Or how are you getting in these fermented blueberries if you want to try them? Or just amazing tips that everybody is sharing, amazing recipes. So definitely utilize that. I found it super helpful, you know, hearing from everybody too. So, and if you do try the fermented blueberries, I did try them. Just keep in mind that it takes a whole week. I want to try them again, but I only want to do it for 5 days. I did the full 7 and they were kind of briny, salty, which wasn't my favorite. But I did mix them with some coconut yogurt and they were okay that way. And like on some oatmeal as well. And so it was fine that way, but yeah, I would just, if you're going to do those, make sure, or you're going to ferment anything, like it takes like a whole week. So be prepared for that time. And yeah, I think I'm going to do the blueberries again, but only 5 days because they were not my favorite, but I tried them and they were okay. So yeah.
So obviously week 1, everything needs to be cooked. So things like salsa, or like if you just like mash up an avocado, would you not do that kind of stuff in week 1?
I think avocado. Yeah, I had avocado the first day. That was fine.
Avocado is a blue. It's not a vegetable.
Yeah.
Okay, I wondered.
Container-wise.
I couldn't remember where it was on the list. And I do also normally put riced cauliflower in my shakes. Usually it's from the freezer, so of course I wouldn't do that. Could you like cook it and cool it and then put it in like once it's cooked?
Yeah.
I realize that's like super granular, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would totally suggest like packing in as many veggies in your shake.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what
gonna
I
have
do.
to. Yeah.
I do, yeah, cauliflower rice or
Yeah.
spinach,
Yeah.
you know, after the first week, just because there's so many veggies you have to get in. And then if you can disguise it, not have to taste it in your shake, it's like a total win for me. So.
Okay.
Zucchini in your shake, frozen zucchini actually is really, really good. You can't taste the zucchini just like all the rest, but it makes it super fluffy. Ilana Muhlstein, who's the other nutritionist for Beachbody, she actually recommended that. And I tried it and I was very pleasantly surprised. So I do that often.
Okay.
And one more thing I did want to mention is I felt pretty good the first, I mean, I was detoxing caffeine for sure and sugar that first week. And so that was just kind of a dull headache and, you know, all of that kind of low energy. But on the 7th day, like I it was like I hit a wall. It was not fun. So I ended up adding in some electrolytes, and my energy the next day shot way up, and all of a sudden I lost 2 pounds. It was like my body just needed that really bad. And the 2 pounds, is that a coincidence? Possibly, right? But it was like my body really needed that. And I finally had energy and I was sleeping better and all of that. So make sure you salt your food with good Himalayan salt or whatever. And then take into consideration if you're not feeling good after probably 6 or 7 days, to add in some no sugar electrolytes as well. Just have that kind of in the back of your head that could possibly be it. Any other questions?
No, I appreciate the, like what Katie said. I do the same thing. I keep it super simple. Don't mess with anything. So cooked up brown rice, cooked up oatmeal, cooked up some chicken breasts, roasted some veggies, and we'll just sort of throw stuff in a container and go.
Yeah, that's the best way for sure. We pack my husband's cooler every night, and then, I mean, and it's easy. And sometimes we're like, oh crap, you're carb short, or oh crap, you're, whatever. But for dinner, we try to load them up with lots of veggies and catch up on whatever we missed for the day or whatever. But, and I kept it, the first week I kept it super simple because I felt like the recipes were very overwhelming the first week, like Katie. But I did find out, like, Brenna kind of inspired me because she's like, I just make a recipe every night because I cook all the time. Well, I cook all the time too, but not new recipes. And that kind of just was overwhelming to me. So when I did start cooking the new recipes, I did find that my kids did like them too, which was nice. I did have a couple people like, so like, do you cook 2 meals for this whole month? Like, that's a lot. And no, I didn't, but I did try to cook more of the meal. And then if my kids wanted something that isn't on the meal plan, I would cook that, and Ted and I would have leftovers the next night. And that worked out, or is still working out great. So I would still be cooking every night, but sometimes we would have leftovers for dinner, and he was okay with that. And then I could cook them like the orange chicken that they wanted with the noodles that they wanted. And you know what I mean? Like things that aren't on our meal plan for now.
Mhm.
So.
I don't cook 2 meals either. I have 5 kids, but like I made a shrimp stir fry one night, and I did shirataki noodles for myself and just regular noodles for them. Like that was an easy compromise. So it's really easy to feed your family the same way. I think just little tweaks like that.
For sure. The energy bites are a staple for me and for Ted. So it says that they're only good for 4 or 5 days. I put them in the freezer. I double batch it. So I think I'm making them like twice a week because there's 2 of us, right? So we're going through them faster. But it's a huge staple. Ted looks forward to it. It's like a treat. It's like a cookie almost. And so, that's something, especially the first week, if you're struggling with sweet cravings, that would be something good to add in.
Okay.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I don't want to keep everybody on a Sunday night. I just wanted to kind of go over a few things, but we have it recorded for those who were able to jump on. So I think we're good unless there's something else. I ran into Karen at the grocery store, and so we had like a little grocery shopping session. Like, oh, you need to get this. Oh, get this. Oh, this is the best dip. Like,
That was awesome. I'm so excited.
she goes, oh, well, isn't this a coincidence? I was like, oh, hi.
God was smiling upon me that day. He had my back. It was nice.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect.
It was awesome.